Welcome back to episode 12 of Should We Have Watched That?
Woo! I'm Saraya.
And I'm Amanda.
12 is just a lot of things. We saw another theatre. We saw another theatre show.
We sure did.
It's called The Way, Way Deep.
We sure did.
I kept getting the name wrong after the show, before the show. I kept wanting to say The Way, Way Back. The deep way. The deep way home, way back home. So this is a one-man show.
Yes, it is. And this is presented by Indigo Productions.
He's the solo actor Patrick McPherson is from England.
Yes.
It's the start of a world tour, and he's starting off in Perth.
Very exciting.
Honestly, well done for coming straight to Perth, because I feel really quite grateful that this is the start of the show, and it hit hard.
It did. It is $39 to $45 for this show.
It's at the Hat Trick in the Pleasure Garden,
and it is 60 minutes long.
And I'd say, you know what? I'm gonna say it already. It's worth it.
Yeah,
it's worth seeing. I thought it was really clever how. So this is a new show that he has devised. I believe at least him and maybe his director. Maybe they devised it together. But Indigo Productions. This is a creation that they have made for one person, and it was just. Like how they eased us into there's a musicality within this show, which was really cleverly done. The lighting and the music was so in sync with what Patrick was doing on stage. It was stunning.
I almost want to say that it was poetic.
I'd agree, because it was like spoken word poetry. Like I was thinking, what's that word for the other kind of poetry? It's not slam poetry. That's what I was thinking, but it's not that. So it's a coming of age kind of story, because it covers 20 years of a friendship.
In 60 minutes.
In 60 minutes.
By one person.
Yeah, non-linear. And how they use one person but so many characters, because they used a lot of recorded voices, and you'd think that would sound stale.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I didn't really know what to expect going into this. I didn't know how he was going to do this.
I didn't think he was... Honestly, I went in quite judgmental, thinking it's a one-man show. One-man show is what is he going to... It's going to be like a comedy stand-up.
You're in a judgmental mood.
I was a judgmental person on Sunday, and I'm really pleased that Patrick showed me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, because we read the synopsis, the description on Fringe.
Which doesn't give...
away very much.
Anything. But understandable.
I was very confused as to how he was going to pull this off. Because I think to me, my immediate reaction was, is he kind of just going to sit down and casually chat to us about his friendship? But boy, was I wrong.
Yes.
And thank goodness I was wrong.
Yeah. It was another non-linear story for you.
I do love that. Do love a non-linear story. Like I said, if you missed it in the last episode, I hate it when writers make the audience feel like they can't think, I suppose, or piece things together.
Yeah, when they treat the audience like idiots. They're like, oh no, they won't get that from the indication that we've given. Let's just say it outright.
Yeah, essentially kind of feeding us stage direction or emotions. And I enjoy non-linear story because then we get to go on that journey and piece it together with the performance as the performance goes on. But gosh, yeah. What concept?
Brilliant. It was just brilliant. Sorry, you go.
No, I was just gonna say it just kind of caught me by surprise, because like I said, I just didn't know how he was gonna do this.
Yeah.
I wasn't going in judgmental per se. I just didn't really have any. I just didn't have any expectations in particular of how this was going to be done. Obviously, we knew, like we've said in the previous episode, we're hypercritical of theatre, because
that's what we know.
That's our main field, and that's our environment. That's our occupation.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It was, it just took me by surprise. In a good way.
In a really, really good way. it's something that I think can definitely go places too.
Oh, and he's certainly going places.
Yeah,
isn't
I mean, he's going to a world tour, hey? But, like, it's a worthy show to be toured.
Yes.
So many times, like, something might turn up and, like, in something like Fringe that has been touring and you're like, oh, okay. Like, maybe I saw an off night, or maybe I didn't appreciate it as much as, you know, other audience members. But this one, I think everyone was affected.
Yeah. And we do get that. Like, we understand having off nights as well.
Yeah.
As actors, like, totally understand that. But he was brilliant, and he was so nuanced for everything, because he played multiple not characters, versions of himself.
Yeah.
Throughout the decades, and oh man, that shit's difficult.
Yeah.
To be connected
to a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
As a probably 26-year-old.
And then come out of it straight away as if you're back in that moment as your current age.
Yeah. It's, and how he, so because there are recordings of a younger voice, it's, he didn't mimic that voice either. Like, there were moments where he went off of what the little voice was saying to add, like, further context, or, like, tell us a little joke almost, at the expense of himself as a 6-year-old, because he was aware of himself as a 6-year-old and, like, able to make judgments on that 6-year-old. Like, it was just really, just well done.
Yeah. So that kind of touches on character development as well.
It does.
I'd say that the dialogue, like Sass has said as well, it was very poetic. There were actually there was kind of poetry in there where it was rhyming.
Yeah, it was this musical aspect, which we wouldn't call it a musical.
No,
but it was
accompanied.
Yes, by music. There were definitely rhythmical rhymes to the music. It didn't feel uncomfortable. Like, it didn't feel pushed or
cringe.
It didn't feel cringe. It felt beautiful. It felt right in the moment and made sense for the story.
Yeah. Oh, the commitment was there. The
character development throughout the entire thing. So, like, even just where we started as his 26-year-old self to where we ended as his 26-year-old self. We're just guessing the age that he was, by the way. Like, his character. That alone, not including his ability to swap between ages to retell this story, but just from where he started as a 26-year-old to when he ended, was heartbreaking.
Gosh, yeah. It was such a journey. Because it started off so light and so funny, and
Amanda felt called out at one point for a Black Eyed Peas joke.
Sass immediately turns to me and I was like, don't. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I love the Black Eyed Peas. I still do. Showing my age.
But
embarrassing.
Yeah, just it hits you.
Yeah. And the set was very minimal.
It was a chair. It was a singular chair.
I said it was minimal.
The lighting was beautiful.
Yes. And we were at the Hat Trick again, which we have been to
before
already.
For the Tim Burton burlesque tribute, which it was different being in that space with like it was a smaller crowd. It was only the second night of the Way Deep, and it was a cooler night compared compared to right now, for instance, where it's hot.
It was freezing.
It was quite cold. We were quite cold.
I was freezing.
Which we're not sure if, but like this has nothing to do with the Way Deep at all. This is to do with the actual venue, that we are wondering if they just didn't turn down the aircon, or maybe they wanted more aircon on Patrick, perhaps.
Oh, maybe. I mean, he would have been.
He would have been hot under the lights.
He was moving. He was dancing. He was jiving. He was feeling. He was doing a lot of things. He was breaking our hearts. And he was in a lot of layers at the beginning.
He was in a lot of layers.
I get it. You gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. The timing of the the music and lighting I've already touched on, and it was brilliant. Like, for something that it needed to be perfect for it to work well.
Yeah.
If there were any gaps and stuff, it would have felt awkward for the audience to watch.
And jarring.
Yeah, and it didn't have that.
Which is so important for something like this, because it's all about connection as well.
Yeah.
And then as soon as something like that happens, you're immediately out of it. And we weren't.
We weren't. And especially when he's conversing with a recording, like, quite often that will... Also, like, that is a very difficult skill to have, but Patrick nailed it.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Favourite moment?
I'm going to say the end. He did something with his... there were two moments, but I'm going to start with the end, because I loved... He did something with his fingers as he was counting, when he had his hands to his head. Yeah. And as the smoke machine was doing its thing, I felt like my heart was in my throat.
Yeah. Oh, God, I'm already a little bit just thinking about it. It's just... Oh.
We both left feeling... Like, we had been on a kind of high throughout the performance, and then the end, we both were very...
Heavy.
We didn't say much, and I think that's because we both had a very emotional connection to that end bit. We haven't experienced anyone, at least I haven't, finishing things like that in real life, but for some reason, it hit hard.
Oh, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It was just...
Another poetic moment, too. Like, speed to his poetry, which is... Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. No, I would agree. My favourite moment was definitely the end. That's kind of what has stuck to me. I know exactly what Sass is talking about, because that's kind of burned into my brain as well. Literally, because it was a burning scene as well. It was just so nuanced in a way that it's incredible how he was able to build the environment with himself in a chair.
Yeah.
I was blown away by the end of it, and I too, I was on the verge of tears. Maybe it was a teary night for me. Who knows?
Who knows?
But you're just in the audience being like, get out.
Yeah.
Get out.
And wanting to pull him out.
And it was essentially kind of, I think the hero's journey. Well, not the perfect person. A mistake happens, you regret it, but you're a good person. And it was all just one mistake that ruins everything. And I guess this was a theme of the night as well, to be honest, for both shows that we saw. But holy cow,
the repercussions made sense.
The ending,
especially him being fully aware that he has 10 seconds, that he has 15 seconds.
And it just, you were counting with him because of the fingers that he was putting down. And it was over time, way over time. And you would, I was just...
And you knew what was going to happen. Yeah. It wasn't a shock, it wasn't a surprise, but you didn't want it to.
No. It was
powerful.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah, it was beautiful. Beautifully done. So incredibly nuanced. And so many layers.
Yeah.
To everything. Not only, I guess, physically in terms of technically, with the sound and, his performance. But I just... Honestly, well done to Patrick, because we know how difficult that is.
Yeah. And he was incredible at it.
Yeah. And he only had himself to rely on.
Yeah. Which can be a blessing or a curse.
Yeah.
And he obviously took it as a blessing. He made it fantastic. As did his director, which he was very clear that, it may look like it's just one person, but there's other people going on behind the scenes that have helped create this amazing piece of art. There is another favourite moment that I have, and it was scattered throughout the piece, which is just that he was able to make us laugh so very quickly. It would just be a quick little quip that would just make us giggle, even if it had been a slightly heavier moment. He was able to have us switch very easily, and that takes a lot of skill.
I think the character development was just really well done, because he's a good person, but he had a flaw. One flaw, and it ruined him. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was way deep. way deep.
So do you have 3 words?
I sure do. I would say moving. Emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
You felt it all. You were laughing with him. You were smiling with him. At one point, he kind of seemed flirty.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, you were kind of in the dumps with him. Incredibly connected with that. And, of course, poetic.
Yeah.
What about you?
You know how there's the phrase, like, breath catching? When something is beautiful. I want, I want heart catching, because, like, the feeling of your heart being in your throat, the feeling of you being so connected to something that's happening in front of you. I want heart catching. Yeah. It doesn't make sense, but it does make sense. Mistakes. Or just simply mistake. One singular mistake.
Character flaw.
Yeah.
One character flaw.
One. But then also light, because he had the ability to make it light.
Yeah.
It was, because it was so nuanced, it was a...
I think that's what made you love his character so much, despite this one really dumb decision.
He was charming.
Character flaw.
Yeah.
It was beautiful storytelling. It really was.
And do you know what? We liked it so much that he has 2 other shows on. One of them is he's bringing back his show from last year that he brought over to Perth, and he's also got a comedy show with his twin brother. And we are actually going to go see the comedy show, because we thought when he was, giving a quip, he was very funny.
Yeah.
But if you can do something so dramatic so well, I think the comedy is going to be really good.
I feel like, a lot of actors who are comedic are very good at drama.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's about commitment.
It is.
Because...
You're right.
Or else it's just cringe, right? You got to commit to the bit, or it just comes off as almost clowning. Yeah. In a sense.
You've got to have a lot of empathy too. Yeah. And even for comedy, it doesn't sound like you do, but you do. You have to also not feel self-conscious.
Well, hopefully we won't be disappointed now that we have these expectations.
I don't think we will be. I think it'll be an absolute laugh.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. We'll be honest about it. But
of course.
Yeah. But this show, stunning.
Yeah. If you can still go see it.
Do go see it.
Definitely. I think it's on till the 4th.
It's a Sunday. Sunday the 4th of Feb.
Very many days left.
But it's
beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it's actually it was very inspiring as well as an artist to just watch the work, because I feel like it brings a lot of inspiration. And I think if you're wanting to, I don't know, if you want to do something, because, you as artists, you kind of have to make your own work as well. Yeah. This is something that could kind of spark a few ideas and concepts as well.
Definitely.
Which is, honestly, big compliment, hey? Yeah. To be able to receive that, I would say, that would be a huge compliment to me if I ever did something to say that it was inspired by something that you had done. But yeah, incredible. Should we have watched that?
Yes. It feels like a no-brainer.
Way, yes.
Way, yes, deep back home.
Deep, and now we're back home.
There are reactions to this that are Emotional Roller Coaster 1, Recycle That, Would See Again 3, and Greatest of All Time 8. And I agree. I really agree.
I don't know if I agree with the clean hit sizzle factor being hot, but...
No. But that might just be, content that isn't sexual. That it's more, triggering.
Yes.
So do keep that in mind, that there are mentions of more delicate subjects, I suppose. Speaking of delicate subjects...
Getting a bit wild and crazy in the next one.
Yeah, what are we going to see?
We are going to be watching another cabaret and variety burlesque. We've been really loving them. I think it's just such a fun, entertaining night.
It's something that you don't see very often when it's not Fringe.
No. And this is Filthy for You.
For You. 4 is a numerical 4.
Numerical for you.
That's going to be at the Connections nightclub. We'll talk about that later on.
Yeah. So catch us in the next one.
I've been Saraya.
And I'm Amanda. Bye! Bye.
Bye now.